Okay, it's demo time. In this demo, I'm going to show you how to calculate a cycle time target, also known as a service level expectation, or SLE. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use Excel to do this. Now, Excel has some nice things that make this extremely easy. So I'm going to show you the extremely easy version, and then I'm going to show you the math, basically do it the hard way so you can understand how I actually calculated this stuff. Okay, here we are in Excel, and let's pretend that this is 40 items worth of cycle time data. So our team has, over some period of time, done 40 items. And there's a nice clear title, a nice descriptive title, item 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way down to 40. And the cycle time in days for each of those items. So column B is the title, column C is the cycle time in days. And if you're wondering, how did I get the data for column C? Well, I used this thing right here, this rand between function in Excel. So that gives me 40 items of random cycle time. So now let's do that SLE calculation using Excel. Generally what I want to do is I want to get a 50% mark and an 85% mark. So what is the value at 50% and what is the value at 85%? And sometimes it's interesting to have the average cycle time. So the average cycle time on all these values, in this case, is 10, which kind of makes sense because I'm doing random numbers between 1 and 20. So if we want to get that 50% mark or the 85% mark in a list of values, there's this function in Excel called percentile. So you give it the range of cells. In this case, it is C2 through C41, which would give me that entire list of cycle time values. And then the second argument is the percentile that I want to get out. So in this case, it is the 50% mark, so 0.5. And for the 85%, it is 0.85. So using the percentile function tells me that our 50% is 11 and our 85% is 18. So in this case, that would mean that 50% of our items complete in 11 days or less, and 85% of our items complete in 18 days or less. And 15% of our items take longer than 18 days. So using the percentile function in Excel, super easy, super quick. Just get all your items and your cycle time values together and drop it into an Excel worksheet, and you're good to go. But let me show you what the math actually is. So I'm going to go to the Show the Math tab here, and I've got the same list of cycle time data. So let's actually pop over to our raw data for a second. So I've got my title and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 item all the way down to item 40 and my cycle time. Now, on the Show Me the Math, what I've done is I've taken our cycle time and I've sorted it in ascending order. So you can see now that the title is like that. So item 39 to 8, 14, 16, 24. It's no longer in item order. It's now in ascending order for cycle time in days. So I know I have 40 items. And if I want to get the item that's at 50%, I'm going to do 40 times 0.5. And that is the 20th cycle time value in the list. If I want to get the item at 85%, I'm going to do 40 items times 0.85. And that gives me item number 34. Now, to make this a little bit easier, I've added the number in list. So that's not the title. I'm just numbering the rows. And you might be thinking, well, why aren't I just using the row numbers in Excel? And the answer is, well, look at that. They don't match. So if I want to get that 50% mark, it's going to be item number 20. So item number 20 is that one. And also, I've done this calculation here saying what percent of the way through the list is each one of these items, just to sort of show you that math in another way. So item number at 85% is going to be row 34, item number 34, and that is right here. So let's go over to this one where I bolded it. So item 20 and item 34. So item 20, cycle time is 10 days or less. Item 34, 85%, is 18 days or less. So to go over those steps again, take your cycle time, sort it in ascending order by cycle time, find your 50% mark, find your 85% mark, or whatever percent mark you want to use for your SLE. I would recommend 50 and 85. Find the items at that percent of the list, at that position in the list, and those cycle times are going to be the cycle times that go in to your SLE, to your cycle time target. So anyway, that's the math the hard way, or you can just do the calculation using percentile in Excel, and that's easy. Or if you're using Azure DevOps, you can just use my free tool, and it'll do it for you without having to go to Excel at all. So there you go, demo of SLE calculation, cycle time targets.